Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away?
Looking at my watch that I don't have.
Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now. Where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future
right now.
Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the voice who gets me on the air, Bonnie D. in the house. Happy to be here. We have a very interesting and unusual topic today with three wonderful guests, two of whom I have met before on my other shows, and one is brand new to the show. He's already invited me on his podcast. So let me get started with my opening. And when I call your name, each of you, I'd like you to just wave hello. So welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where we'll explore how AI may help pets and service animals like never before. Bonnie D on her Scarlett Mic is leading the way with Kim Lengling, wave hello, Michael Mike Hingson, sir,
hello.
Wave hello, and Holly B. Gutwillinger. Is it Willinger or Willinger? Remind me.
Gutwillinger, you got
Willinger, here today from Smarter Care for Trusted Companions with Technologies Bright. Their bold predictions will share what the future may invite. Tune in as innovation and compassion come into view on the future of pets, service animals, and technology. Care done right for you. And now I have a gift for each of you, and Kim, you're first. From Pennsylvania's small town roads where one stoplight lit the ways, Kim learned compassion early in her childhood days. A middle child with courage strong, protector at her core, standing up for others even when it meant much more. A jock at heart, she raced through sports with energy and pride. Softball, basketball, and volleyball each kept her spirited stride. Yet beyond the games, in woods and fields where quiet healing grew, Kim rescued injured animals, compassion shining through. The military shaped her resilience, structure, strength, and grace, while opening her world to people from each walk and each place. Then sales and marketing for 25 years became Kim's art, building trust and human connection straight from the heart. Now, with Let Fear Bounce, her storytelling voice takes wing, where courage, healing, and authentic human stories all sing. Inspired by nature and time with her loyal dog each day, Kim predicts how compassion and AI may help guide the way. Kim, welcome, and I hope you enjoyed that.
I did enjoy it. Thank you. You were so good at intros, so thank you very much for that.
You're welcome, and now it's Michael's turn. Though blind since birth, young Michael learned determination from early days. His parents showed him confidence and how to adapt in so many ways. He mastered math completely in his ever-active mind and rode his bike with confidence, refusing to be confined. From California classrooms where physics helped Michael grow, to teaching, tech, and management with innovations flow. Then history changed forever, September 11th's darkest morn, high above in Tower 1, where courage would be born. With Roselle, Mike's guide dog calm, descending floor by floor, from the 78th they safely reached the crowded tower door. Together they showed spirit, trust, and teamwork at their best, while millions watched resilience through this extraordinary test. Now Mike's books, Thunderdog and Running with Roselle, inspire hearts worldwide, while Live Like a Guide Dog teaches compassion as its guide. From global stages to his podcast where inclusion leads the way, Mike shares how trust and AI may help save more lives each day. Michael, I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you. I did. You are a great introducer.
Thank you very much and welcome. And now it's Holly's turn. From northern Ontario mining roots where two languages filled the air, Holly grew with art and music, shaping her creativity there. Before computers entered homes, her careful handwriting shone bright, winning contests, writing letters, her imagination taking flight. A late bloomer strong in spirit, new adventures soon took hold. A taekwondo black belt earned at 30, Holly confident and bold. Then yoga training deepened balance, mindfulness, and grace, while drawing, knitting, running, and writing claimed their rightful space. Now a published author, too, with fiction studies still in stride, Holly's MFA and second novel are approaching side by side. Yet through life's joys and grief alike, one truth has stayed sincere. Her beloved dogs have long defined companionship, true and dear. From Hot Dog, the Dachshund Rescue, welcomed warmly to her home, to Johnny Cash and Sullivan, no longer left to roam, Holly shares how pets bring comfort, healing hearts along the way, and how compassion plus technology may support more lives someday. Holly, welcome. I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you. I'd like to know that girl.
That's what some people say. Let me wrap this up now. So stay tuned, valued audience, as bold new visions ignite, where we reshape how pets and service dogs are cared for right. With me, Bonnie D, and my futurists exploring what tomorrow may bring, predicting a future where technical innovation for animals takes wing. And there you go. Show's over, Mike. That was it. That's the whole thing. Just me introducing all of you. I'm delighted that you enjoyed your intro, and I'll tell you after the show how I do those, and I think you will enjoy the story. But I have to do a shout out to my French collaborateur, Elle s'appelle Sylvie, and we'll just leave it at that. And that's one of the most popular girls' names right now, by the way. It's making a resurgence, charming and French. What can I say? So let's go around the table. Kim, I'm going to start with you, putting you on speaker view. Why don't you please tell us a little more, connect some of the dots for us, and tell us a little more about pets and technology. Don't give us your predictions yet. Just tell us a little more about you, and welcome, Kim.
Well, thank you once again for having me as a guest. And it's so fun to be with other authors on this panel. So I've been looking forward to this. You pretty much covered it in my bio. I continue to write. I continue to, hang out with my dog, Dexter. He is my office manager. He keeps me on track. He keeps me, on those days that I might be down a bit. He reminds me, hey, there's no reason to be down because there's a lot of stuff to sniff outside, So he keeps me on track, tells me when I need a break, when I need to take a rest, and when I need a snack or a drink. So I spend a lot of time with my dog. I write, I do my podcast, and I like to keep notice of the little things, because to me, that's what makes your day. What brings out those bright spots. So noticing the little things, and even on down days, I remind myself, hey, Kim, there's all kinds of things to find that, those little nuggets of hope, those little things to keep you on track and keep you smiling and keep you level, keep your soul level. So yeah, there you go.
Thank you. That's a new definition of the term level set. Thank you very much, Kim. Delightful to have you. Mike Hingson. We were joking about Mike Kingston and all of the ways your name could be pronounced. I'm going to call you Michael. I like the formal version. Sir Hingson, I am putting you on speaker view. Please tell us a little more about yourself. Go ahead.
Well, I was born in Chicago in 1950, and I was born 2 months premature and put in an incubator, which caused, with a pure oxygen environment, the retinas not to grow properly. So it was discovered at 4 months of age that I was blind. And the doctors told my parents to send me off to a home because no blind child could ever amount to anything or be a contributor to society. My parents said, "You're wrong. He can do whatever he chooses, and we're going to raise him believing that." And they did. That included, when I was 14, getting my first guide dog, Squire, who was a golden retriever. Squire went to high school with me and to college for my bachelor's degree and the first year of graduate school. Then I got my second guide dog, Holland. And it was a while before I really understood that as I was getting each guide dog and going through the training process, what I was really doing was forming a teaming relationship with these dogs, and that we were really becoming a team that worked together. And as I also further learned later, the reality is people always say dogs love unconditionally. And I think that's absolutely true, but they don't trust unconditionally. But the difference between dogs and people is that dogs are more open to trust unless they're just really abused and given a reason not to. So dogs are more open to trust and want to develop a trusting relationship. So when I get to meet a new dog, it's all about establishing a trust both ways. They want to learn to trust me, and I need to learn to trust them as well. And we do that. And I am now on my 8th guide dog, Alamo, who is a black lab. And Alamo's asleep on the floor over here, out of sight, and won't move. but I have learned that these dogs are so wonderful and work with us to establish a great relationship. You just can't beat it anywhere. And I think, that has helped me a lot. And it's great to have had all these relationships and develop so many wonderful memories.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. I'm glad to meet the names of your dogs. That's very, very interesting. I'll tell you about my grandpuppies in a little bit after we get Holly here. So, Holly, I'm saying welcome back to both you and Kim because you've been, I believe, on my creativity show. You haven't been on the technology show. So, and of course, it's time that I do a shout out to Mickey Mickelson from Creative Edge PR,
Yeah.
who scheduled the three of you, who brought the three of you to me for this very special topic. So shout out to Mickey. You can tell him I said so. Okay. Holly, let's put you on speaker view and let's find out a little more. Bring us up to date. What have you been up to?
Yes, well, exciting news. I am officially retiring on December 31st from my day job. So I'm super duper excited and trying to stay focused on work, right? When all my thoughts are bringing me to all the fun things I'm going to do. My two dogs that are, the subject of my first novel, they're seniors now, and so they're slowing down quite a bit. So I'm really, truly just trying to even slow myself down and enjoy every moment with them without thinking of the future. Um, yeah, and just writing. I want to jump right back into writing some more. I haven't had a whole lot of time with the publicity of the book, but it's been great. It's been fun. I'm learning so much, but Holly needs a little bit of a break. And so, good reminder here to just take a step back and enjoy the peacefulness with my dogs.
There you go. What are you going to be writing about, Holly? Anything on what's on your list?
Well, I have a manuscript with an editor, and it's Meet Cute in the Dog Park. So lots of dogs in the love story, of course. But I'm also working on a spin of A Christmas Carol, but it'll be more like three dogs and a Thanksgiving, and the ghosts are going to be dogs.
Oh, how charming! How cute! Which breed shall I say? Which breed of dog do you thinking would be the yes? Who?
I think I'm probably going to go with a mixed breed because that's what's near and dear to my heart. Like I've always had rescues or strays or giveaways. And so I'm going to stay away from the bougie dogs and stick with what I know.
There you go, bougie dogs. Okay, I'm learning something every minute here. That's very good. Let's thank you all for adding to your intros. I appreciate that. And let's go to your opening quotes. And as I told you before the show, you don't have to find what you sent me a month ago. I have it all here. So, Kim, we're going to start with you, and you are quoting a very popular quotee, I should say, Albus Dumbledore, played by Michael Gambon from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm learning to pronounce that. 2004 fantasy film. Let's see, screenplay by Steve Kloves, based on the 1999 novel Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by, of course, J.K. Rowling, or Rowling, however you want to say it. Dumbledore is a fictional character. Most of the series, he is the headmaster of the Wizarding School, Hogwarts, one of the most powerful and influential wizards of all time. Let's see now. I don't think. Oh, and Michael Gambon took over the role after the passing of the original actor Richard Harris in 2002. So here is the quote Kim has selected. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. What a lovely quote. Kim, tell us more. How does this relate to our topic?
Well, there's always light. There's always light, no matter where you're at. And obviously, there is light that comes with technology, of course, but there are things, I think, topics and things that people go through that they always feel very alone. And then when you feel that loneliness and that isolation that becomes dark, whether it's physically, mentally, what have you, becomes dark, and you need to find those little sparks of light. And I know that's what I do if I have a bummer of a day, kind of a dark or a gray day, look for those sparks of light. It might be that I chat with someone online, using technology for that spark of light, or it might just be, taking a long walk with my dog.
That's it. I want you to tie it to the dog. So
Yeah,
tie it to your pet. Does
I take a
techno
lot of walks with my dog. We walk a lot.
Do you document those? Do you take pictures? Do you use any kind of technology on your walks? Do you
A lot of
plot?
times I do. I always have my phone on me and I will take videos of Dexter running through the field and I'll yell out to him, run because you can, buddy. Look at you go. So I video him or I take pictures. Like I walk in this park and it has 5 different ponds on it and it's just stunning and beautiful. And right now there's ducks and geese and they all have their babies, you know these little fluff balls floating around on the pond. So there's also a mongoose, not a mongoose, a weasel out there.
Ooh,
There's all kinds of different birds. And sometimes I just sit on this huge rock and Dexter just sits with me and I just take pictures or I will literally just record the nature sounds of all the birds and the splashes in the ponds. And it's amazing because on when you have those great days or darker days, I love to bring those videos back up and rewatch them.
there you go.
And
There
it's
you
a
go.
good reminder of, yeah, look at nature.
And
Bring yourself back to nature because there's a lot of healing in it.
absolutely. And back in the day, which was a while ago, and I know Mike is probably from my era, so you would understand this. You were stuck with a still camera, and you would have to take a picture here and there, and you had to get the film developed. And it'd be, okay, I'll take this one, but oh my God, I only have 3 more shots left on the roll, blah blah. And today, with our technology, we can make our pets more part of everything we do, everywhere we go, and it can be a continuous flow of documentation. I'm just riffing here, but I wanted to relate it. So happy news. Thank you very much, Kim. And Michael, you're up next. And Michael has sent a quote that is the title of a song. I won't give it yet. It's a jazz song written by Herman Hupfeld in 1931 for the Broadway musical Everybody's Welcome, where it was first sung by Frances Williams. That's a woman, Frances with an ES. Although famous for its 1942 performance by Dooley Wilson in Casablanca, that was the movie, we know that one. The first recordings were made by Rudy Vallée and Jacques Renard in 1931. Wilson's 1942 rendition from the film Casablanca is known for the iconic line, "You must remember this, a kiss is just a kiss." This version became an American cinema standard associated with the phrase "Play Again, Sam." And here's the title. Michael, I'll get to it eventually. The title of the song, which is the quote Michael's going to relate to our topic, is "As Time Goes By." What a beautiful song. Michael, I'm putting you back on speaker view, and why don't you regale us with your thoughts on how this relates to our topic of pet care and technology? Go.
And a little trivia. Play It Again, Sam never did appear in the movies. It's something that people created. But anyway, um, I think as time goes by, we have so many choices that we get to make. And when we're dealing with our pets and so on, as I worked with 8 guide dogs, I always chose to make sure that my relationship with my guide dogs became closer. As I said, it's all about building a team. And I discovered over time more about this whole idea of trust and developing a level of trust. And I know that the dogs have learned to trust me, but I've also learned to trust them. And the relationship doesn't work unless it goes both ways. And so I've had a lot of fun developing close relationships with these dogs. And also, my wife's had a service dog for a while. She was in a wheelchair her whole life. And we adopted a dog when I worked at Guide Dogs for the Blind, who actually ended up being the mother of my 7th guide dog. My 7th guide dog was Africa, and the mother was Fantasia, who we cared for as a breeder for guide dogs. And Fantasia discovered that Karen wasn't able to pick things up off the floor, so she figured out that if things dropped, she'd pick them up and give them to Karen. And it's all about developing these relationships that become closer and closer when we're open to them. And so I love getting closer to each of my dogs. And I've learned there are ways to develop positive relationships. You don't yell at your dog when they don't do something that you want. Clearly, if they are doing something that you didn't want, then you're not communicating what you really want well enough, and you got to fix that. That's my job to fix it, not the dog's. And I've learned that by adopting that kind of an attitude, again, we become more open to trust, which is so cool. So I really love having this kind of a relationship. And as time goes by, the trust gets stronger and stronger. At the same time, people have said to me, well, when you retire a dog, don't you get sad? And the fact is, yes and no, because it's my job to know when to retire a guide dog, because the dogs will work till they drop. And I had one that actually did. But the reality is that I have to be alert to know how the dog is doing and when it's time for the team to retire the dog. And that's worked out pretty well. And I just think it's great, but it still continues to promote the level of trust.
Thank you very much. I see trust as a very important theme here. And Michael, I'm intrigued by the names of the dogs. You keep adding more and more in, and we're all going,
we had Squire, we had Holland, we had Klondike, we had Linny, we had Roselle, we had Merrill, we had Africa, and now Alamo.
Wow. I need to write something for you about that. I'll have to figure that out. Thank you very much. Very interesting. And Casablanca, wonderful movie. The song has so much in it. It's so much nostalgia and so much feeling in the song. As time goes by, and there was a TV show called, I think, As Time Goes By. I think it was a British dramedy sitcom. Very, very interesting. Yeah. So we'll talk about that another time. Holly, it's time for Holly's quote. And Holly has picked a classic from Rhett Butler, played by the wonderful Clark Gable, Gone with the Wind, of course, 1939 epic historical romance film, adapted from Margaret Mitchell's 1936 novel, produced by David O. Selznick. Directed by Victor Fleming. There was so much back and forth about the movie's production itself, but interesting, the role of Scarlett O'Hara, they interviewed 1,400 unknown women who wanted to be the actresses. Very, very interesting, but it ran too long, even though it won 10 Oscars at the 12th Academy Awards, 8 competitive and 2 honoraries from 13 nominations. And in today's dollars, it's still, adjusted for monetary inflation, it's still the highest grossing film in history. And the quote Holly has picked from Rhett Butler to Scarlett is, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." Oh, you got to explain this one. What does this have to do with pets and technology? Go ahead, Holly.
I wonder what frame of mind I was in when I chose that. My goodness. Okay. Well, I'm going to relate it back to what I said earlier. I'm at a stage in my life where my care factor is diminished. And I mean that in the most respectful way, but I think that I'm choosing to put myself first. And oftentimes I actually put my family aside from work or even sometimes friends. And I've realized that I have to care more about me and my family than everything else. And maybe that, I think, is related to work. So frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn about this report that has to be done. I mean, I'll still get it done, but because I'm moving into a different season of my life and I just want to be in my space with my dogs and enjoying those precious moments with them, because I don't like to think about it, but our time is limited together. And so it's time to really be present. And so I think that's where I was going with the, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Can we relate that
else
to dogs and technology at all? Can you relate that to when people say you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to film your dog every 10 minutes, you got to be on Instagram, you have to have a reel on TikTok? Frankly, I don't give a damn. Could we expand? Kim is nodding. Can we expand that, Holly?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because
I'm working hard here, kids.
No, it's true, because even with Instagram, it's been a struggle lately, right? With the social medias, always have to be posting. And I found myself in this vicious circle of, oh my goodness, I haven't posted today. And so I have to allow myself some space and that care factor again of not what other people think or that I'm not recognized, and just allowing that to take a sideline. So you have to not care what everybody else thinks about you and allow your own light to shine through in its authentic way.
I like that.
Thanks for the nudge, Bonnie.
You're welcome, dear. I have a different word for authentic. I call it real deal with a hyphen. Because I got tired of authentic. Nothing against that. Has anybody seen or heard the videos called Coco Doodle? Has anybody seen those? It's a dog, a very adorable dog that is maybe AI, don't know, but the lips move according to words, and it has comments about the family or the mom, and they're very funny and very charming and clever about the food, about the environment, about mom telling her what to do. If you haven't seen Coco Doodle, I'll send you a link. My daughter, who owns two Labradoodles, my grandpuppies, sent it to me, and it's charming, but it's so well written, as though a person is speaking. And the question is, it's a real dog, but somehow they got the mouth to move like the real. Anyway, that's another story entirely. Thank you for the quotes, everybody. Very interesting, and you're welcome for the nudge there, Holly. Let's go to our predictions round. We are right on time where we're supposed to be. So, Kim, I'm going to your first prediction here. What I'm going to do is I'll read it and I'll ask you to unpack it. This is a really interesting one to start off this part of the show. And then I will ask Mike, and I still want to call you Michael. It's just you're just an elegant gentleman. I want to call you by the elegant
Whatever
name.
you choose.
Thank you. I choose Michael. And then Holly. So we'll get both of you to comment. So Kim's prediction number one is AI and technology may make it easier to take care of our animals. From smart watches that keep an eye on our health to tools that help us notice when a pet isn't acting just right. Maybe catch things early and take better care of the pets and service animals we love. So, Kim, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Let's talk about technology now. Let's take our deep dive. Go ahead, please. Unpack.
Well, I came up with that because my daughter and myself both have. I have to get it. I don't have it now, but I had one for years. I think it's called Fubo, and it's a camera in the house. So when I was gone, I could watch my dog. And at that time, when I first got it, he was 13. He was a very big dog. And at 10, the vet told me, prepare yourself. So he hung out with me for another 4 years. But at 13, he really started slowing down. And I hated leaving him every day. And I got this camera that I set up in the living room because that's pretty much where he stayed the whole day. I would even move his water bowl in there so he wouldn't have to struggle to get up to go into the kitchen. And so I used that. And there were times where I would see him struggling because it would show up on my phone. It would alert me on my phone. And I would see him struggling and I'd be like, oh, and I was 20 minutes away. And it was breaking my heart. But there were a couple times where I just said to my boss, gotta go. Gotta go. And so I would just, fly home as quickly as I could and help him out. And I didn't let that go on and on. He eventually told me, Mom, I'm really tired, and they tell you when they're tired, and want to, just take a rest. But I used it that way. And my daughter, has cameras in her house too. So when she now works from home, but when she worked out in the corporate world, they would alert her to what her dogs were doing. And she had just adopted a new one that was very, very, very anxious. And she was constantly getting herself into pickles during the day. And, I was closer. So Rayon would be like, are you able to scoot home to my house on your lunch or something to get her? Because she would jump behind something and couldn't get out. I mean, it was just, so she'd be stuck all day, and my daughter would be talking through the camera. Come on, you crawled in there, you can crawl out. So to me, it's a safety thing. It's also, especially when they're aging, to be able to see. Now, I'm fortunate that I'm home, and so I'm able to be with my dog every day and see him. But at that time, I used technology daily to keep an eye on my other dog, Digger. And then, of course, with Dexter, I had it still for a couple years with him. And it gave me a lot of comfort to be able to see that, or just be able to check in,
Yes, Digger and Dexter. I'm processing that part. Okay, let's go around the table and see. Michael, would you like to comment on the use of AI for keeping track of or keeping in touch with? What do you think?
So I usually travel with my guide dog, but I also have a cat named Stitch, who is now 16. And we have cameras in the house. And when I am traveling, we put one of them in the bedroom because Stitch just stays in my bedroom most of the time by choice. And I will activate the camera and talk to Stitch. And occasionally she'll even come over and sniff the camera. A lot of times she just ignores me, but she will come over and occasionally sniff the camera and talk to me, which is important. I think it's really important for me to stay in touch with her, as I think it's important for all of us to stay in touch with our animals. But Stitch, when I'm home, sleeps right up against me. And so when I travel, I want to make sure that I continue to have an opportunity to talk with her. So as I said, at night, that's what we do. And occasionally, I've had to leave Alamo, for example, at home when I travel, or not in my house, but he'll stay with someone. But again, there are usually cameras, and I'll have an opportunity to talk with him. And I think that's important, to be able to continue to communicate with them, because I want my animals to know that I value them and I consider them as important in life as I hope they consider me.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much. Holly, thoughts on that? What do you think? Keeping an eye on, keeping them in view. What do you think?
I love it. I love it, Kim. And I remember those furbos, I think they were called. And did they throw out treats to the dog as well?
Yes.
Yes. So, all those years when I used to go into the office, I hated the feeling and the guilt that, got me right here every time I left. And I never even thought of that. And so thank you for bringing that to mind. Although now, I mean, I get to stay home a lot more, but that's a great idea. And so I'm going to look into those furbos for the times when we are away for a few hours.
Well, I remember when one of my neighbors, the house across the street has been rented. Somebody finally bought it, but one of the couples had a dog, and when they would leave, I would listen to that dog barking and shrilling. I don't know what other verb to use, for when they left and for a long time after. And I could just hear the dog screeching all day. And I wondered what the I don't know what the house looked like inside. I mean, this is a nice neighborhood, but it was just odd that that dog was just left to shriek and shriek and shriek. And I don't know, Michael's shaking his head. I don't know if they had a camera where they could speak to the dog and say, I'll be back, or I'm here, or comfort the dog, or if they even had a camera in the house. I doubt that. But anyway, very interesting. My daughter and son-in-law keep cameras in the house, and they travel in their RV a lot. And when they will go to a restaurant and not take the boys, we call them, with them, they keep an eye on what they're doing in the RV, whether they're sleeping on the bed or whether they're on the couch. And it gives them a comfort level that they know what's going on with their pet babies. Yes, they do. So there you go. And they send me pictures once in a while, and it's a lot of fun to see. So, okay. Well, thank you very much, Kim. That was a great start off for our predictions round. And let's go to 2 from Michael. This is interesting. People say, here's what you said, Michael. People are using AI now this is important, in an attempt to create robot guide dogs to aid blind people. While some progress has taken place, robots will not replace live guide dogs. I'm just going to slip that one into your next prediction, Michael, and we can address them both together, please. You say training of guide dogs already is in some ways utilizing AI to help. Smart glasses, and thus AI, give blind guide dog handlers more information than they otherwise might have had. That's the key. But let's talk about robot guide dogs. No.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, the issue is that as technology progresses, people are trying to develop means by which a blind person can use a robot to travel around, and it can work in a lot of different ways. There are still limitations. For example, the robots won't go up and down stairs by themselves. You actually have to carry it, and so on. But the bigger issue is the emotional attachment. I don't think we're going to see in the near future any kind of an AI technology that's going to create an emotional bond like humans do create with their animals, and specifically blind people using guide dogs. That emotional relationship is such an important part of the process. And one of the things that we learn in dealing with guide dogs is, of course, the dog speaks a different language than I do. And it's my job to figure out when the dog's happy, when the dog's not happy, when there's something going on with the dog, and so on. And I don't think that a robot is going to be able to bring that level of attachment to make the process work in the near future. The other side of it, though, is, as I mentioned, smart glasses. There are pieces of technology, such as glasses that I can put on that have a camera mounted on them, and I can actually use the camera and the glasses with a camera and AI that's built into the technology to get descriptions. For example, as I walk through Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, the AI will read the gate numbers because dogs aren't going to read the gate numbers. Or when I'm traveling around, I can actually have the technology describe what it sees so I can learn more about my geography. And I've learned a lot using these glasses that I haven't learned in other ways. And sometimes that really enhances how I'm able to work with my guide dog. The job of a dog, contrary to popular belief, is not to lead a blind person around. The dog's job is to make sure that we walk safely. It's my job to know where to go and how to get there. And sometimes smart glasses can help with additional warnings, but still, I'm going to rely on and I'm going to pay attention to what my dog wants to do first and foremost. Then we go forward from there. And the AI, as I said, can help with that with the smart glasses, but still, it's really the relationship between dog and person that's the most important thing.
Thank you. That was an interesting logistical lesson. You're absolutely right. The dog can't possibly tell you where the gate is or how many seats are available or where the crowds are. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, you can teach a dog to do things. I can teach a dog to have a command, find a chair or find the gate. But again, it's a command, so I still have to know where I am in order to give the dog the right command. But by the same token, they're really bright. They figure out a lot of things.
Very cool. Let's get Kim and Holly to weigh in on this, the combination of technology and trust and caring and knowledge. I'm going to call it knowledge or awareness. Kim, any thoughts on that?
The robot thing, I'm completely on board with Michael on that one. That relationship is too important, and a robot you wouldn't get that from, And I've seen those robots like on YouTube videos that are dogs, or they're used as like a protection for homes, walking perimeters. It's very, to me, I was like, oh, that's almost frightening.
Yeah.
to watch one of these. I mean, it's disturbing on some level. So I agree with Michael on that. And the smart glasses, honestly, I wasn't aware that they could do so much. I find that fascinating, and absolutely what a help it can be on several different levels for Michael and many others. And I'm sure for many other things that people live with. And Michael, you know more about this than I do, but so you're a blind man using them, but I'm positive, I don't know about them, but I'm positive there are things out there for other folks, maybe folks with cerebral palsy or in those ways to actually be helpful and not just, hey, this is cool, or I'm making a whole human robot, because that's disturbing to watch too.
And what we're going to find over time is the smart glasses are going to help a lot of people. They may help you in dealing with your environment, seeing things that you don't see. So it really has a lot to do with all of us, not just people who have the so-called traditional disabilities. Of course, my opinion about disability, and that is that everyone has it. Mostly people's disabilities are that all of you are light dependent. You don't do well in the dark. Doesn't bother me. But the reality is, in a lot of different ways, glasses will help all of us.
Very well put. Very well put. When the light goes down here, I'm in Tennessee in eastern U.S. and sometimes I forget to put the night lights on. I'm working so late in my office with one light on here in my broadcast studio, and I will go through the rest of the house and I'll say to myself, it's really dark. It is really, there's not a pinpoint of light from anything. And I will make myself walk through the house to find the lights, but I don't panic and I don't say anything to myself. I just say, it's really dark. Let me find my way. It's an interesting exercise, not reaching for the very first light. So yeah, Michael, very, very well put. Holly, any thoughts on AI with awareness, with knowledge? What do you think?
Definitely. It comes back to trust. I mean, my level of trust in social media, in artificial intelligence is extremely low at this point. Mm-hmm. But with my dogs, although the rescues, and I don't, I will admit I don't have 100% trust in them either, because they are dogs and they're not trained in a way that a service dog would be. I would have far more trust in a service dog or in a dog than a robot dog.
There you go.
But the other part about that is that you can teach your dog to do the things that you need them to do. So you can develop that trust. It doesn't have to be a service dog. That's really your job to do the training.
And Michael, while we're on the topic, I want to expand a little bit. Holly, I'll get to your predictions in a minute, and which were very interesting and charming. Michael, is technology helping you train, helping people train guide dogs in a way that wasn't possible before we had all of this technology? And I'm just opening up that big basket of tech. Are there things that are special that are now at the forefront of the communication level during the training that
Sure.
AI, please tell us a little. Do you mind? Just
Well,
expand a little.
again, the AI comes into things like smart glasses. Trainers oftentimes when they're training guide dogs for people, they will also work under blindfold because they need to develop and convey to the dog that they're developing a level of trust, but still getting more information is helpful. The biggest so-called handicap or challenge that I face being blind is not the lack of eyesight, it's the lack of information that is provided in ways that you get that I don't. And smart glasses will help all of us enhance our ability to have information and work with the dog. So let's say I'm trying to train my dog to find a chair, and there are ways that I can do that. But using smart glasses, I can also find chairs and give the dog directions to get to the chair probably a lot more effectively or more efficiently, or find a light pole or even find an elevator. And I can use the smart glasses to help enhance my informational intake and to help me have more things that I can use to train the dog. And I think that guide dog trainers will do that. Also, a lot of people who may have challenges working with their guide dogs and who need to communicate back to the trainers who are maybe hundreds or thousands of miles away can make videos using smart glasses so that the trainer can see from the person's perspective what's going on, and that will also help them advise the guide dog users after they graduate.
That's what I was looking for. That's that knowledge and trust and communication, right? Being
Sure.
able to share what's going on in an efficient and effective and clear way. That's the important part in order
But again,
to
I would also just say that it doesn't have to just be with service dogs. You know, we all
Mhm.
can develop
Yep.
relationships and closer relationships with our dogs and develop those trusting relationships. And the more we do, the more the dog will appreciate us as well, because they can sense if we're not confident in them.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I was not a dog person until my daughter and her husband started having two dogs. And it turns out that Amos was first. He's named after one of their favorite singers, Amos Lee. And Jake comes from the same familial line, but Jake, who is about a half of the size of Amos and who is younger, is actually Amos's uncle, if you trace the descendant line, which was one is blonde and one is chocolate. And it's very, very interesting. But talking about trust, Michael and everybody, there's something about Jake when he's been here, when they visit me, he will come and sit so that he's sitting against my leg or against my foot and just sit there and trust that we're connected. And it's a very charming and beautiful thing. Whereas in the morning, if I'm sleeping on the couch because I give them my bedroom, Amos will come in and start to lick all over my face and go in circles around right next to me, rubbing up against me on the couch and in circles. And that's their way of communicating. Hi, Grandma. I'm here. I love you. Good morning. I want to
And get
greet
up, I
you.
want to eat.
Oh no, their parents are in charge of their bowls, and I don't have anything to do with that. But it's just interesting the level talking about trust of human to pet. I call them puppies. I don't call them dogs. It's just a charming experience for me, not having had experience with dogs when I was growing up. So very, very interesting. So before I get all mushy gushy here, let's go to Holly's
Well,
predictions.
I'll just
Go
say
ahead.
that
Yes.
Alamo will be 10 years old tomorrow, and I still call him a puppy. So there you
There
go.
you
Yeah.
go. There you go. Okay. Now, Holly, I'm combining two predictions here. This is interesting. One, we've talked a little bit about this, but you have a different spin on it. You say dog TV will become popular in homes where dogs are left alone all day, and they'll be able to watch programs with talking dogs. Now, Amos will watch the puppy bowl on TV, watching the dogs barking and coming on the stage for about 3 minutes, and then he gets bored. Jake has no ability to watch the screen at all. They don't he just can't see the movement on the screen. So talk to me about this, Holly, and then I have one more prediction from you. What is this dog TV?
Well, I personally haven't seen dog TV, but I've heard of it. And I suppose it's a amplified version of a furbo in a opposing sense. But I have heard of people putting dog TV on for their dogs while they go to work, and so their dogs are entertained. My two dogs, they don't seem to recognize the TV at all. We've tried several times. We've tried on computers when we're away from home. But there are dogs, and I've watched videos where the dog is sitting there and he seems to be interacting with the TV. Now, I know they're limited on what colors they can see as well. So maybe dog TV caters to that color palette that they can see. So,
And it's the speed, I think, of the what do you call it? The rays on the screen. It's the speed
yeah.
of I'm going to hold this up. It's TV for dogs, calm, happy, entertained, scientifically developed for dogs, reduces stress and anxiety. Trusted, Michael, I'm holding up a screenshot. I found it on my phone. Trusted by dog owners worldwide, supported by pet experts and veterinarians. And there's a picture of a dog watching the TV. Amos won't go for more than 3 minutes, and he just said, "Oh, there's a dog. That's nice." If he sees a cow on TV, that's even more interesting. Holly, I want to add one more prediction to this, and everybody can respond to this one. You say dogs will be able to communicate with humans through software. That's an interesting prediction. What are we talking about here?
Well, already, I don't know if anyone else on the panel has seen those buttons that dogs can press. I have not witnessed them in person yet, but I really would like to, and I want to know if they truly work because I've watched videos, as everyone has, through
I've had
technology.
those people on my show a couple of times. The
Oh,
ones,
okay.
yes, Bunny's owner has been on the show with me, and somebody else whose father developed a communication method with dogs pushing buttons. And I've also had the gentleman in Florida whose dog is a math whiz, and he takes him around the country, and the dog he can tap out your name by tapping the number of the letter of the alphabet where your name is. And I've had it done on my show live. And it's so keep talking, Holly. Go ahead. I just wanted to interject. I've seen a lot
Yeah.
of that. It's real.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, it's just a matter of time before we can communicate through words. Dogs already have a vocabulary of, is it 300 or 500 words? And so they have that ability, and it's just through evolution. I think that one day, because I'm sure you've noticed, but we treat our dogs very differently than we used to, let's say 50 years ago. Dogs were different back then. They were not so much a pet that sat on the couch, but they were a working animal, in the yard or on the farm. And so I think the evolution will take us to a place where we can communicate. Finally, I'll be able to know their thoughts.
There you go. There you go. Melly was the name of the dog Mark Bello raised, and at 3 months, the dog had an eidetic memory and could learn hundreds of words and could do math problems and spell things, and was part of a mathnasium project, I think, that was funded by some organization and traveled around the country, amazing audiences of children and parents. Very, very interesting. And then when Melly was supposed to be on my show, and Melly got sick and passed away, and then the new dog, God, I'm sorry, I forget the name of the new dog, Marco, and Marco is being trained the same way. These are amazing, learning capable dogs. But the question is, and I'm going to pose this to you, Michael, how much do we want our dogs to really be like humans, and how much do we need them to communicate with us and trust us, technology or not? Any thoughts on that, Michael?
Well, I don't want them to be like humans. I want the dogs to be themselves, but I would like to be able to communicate with them as best as I can. And I've actually heard that there's some dogs that have learned to read flashcards. I think that there are a lot of things that dogs can do that we underrate them for. And I think that over time we will learn ways to improve communicating with them. Which also means that we need to be really careful because they may be very honest with us and we might not like their answers, but their answers are important too. So I don't want them to be like humans. I want them to be themselves, but I want to be able to know and understand them better. So I'm all in favor of having better communications.
There you go. And Marconi is the name of Marconi. I'm thinking of the one who invented radio. That's the name of Mark Bello's second dog. Question. I'd like to, first of all, Kim, any comments on would you leave dog TV on all day for your dog?
No, actually I wouldn't. My dog has no interest in TV whatsoever. None of my dogs have had any interest in TV, and I don't watch much TV, so my TV is not on very often. Um,
Okay.
I pretty much stopped watching mainstream TV in 2020. So when I do have it on, I'm watching YouTube or something. But I have found when I have my granddaughter with me, who is 2.5, I
Yes.
have her one day a week. And when it's time for her to take a nap, I say it's quiet time, where it's time for quiet music. And I find some very gentle lullaby type music that I've found on YouTube. And as soon as I do that, both my granddaughter and the dog lay down and fall asleep. So just watching that, the quiet time music settles my dog too. And he takes a nap with my
Ah,
granddaughter.
that's lovely.
So
That is
it's something that he listens to, but he never watches the television.
interesting.
It's like he doesn't even realize it exists.
When
Yeah,
I was growing up, we watched Lassie, and we had a dachshund who every week had to sit on the arm of the couch watching Lassie. That's the only time the dog ever interacted with TV. And I've never had another dog that has had any interest in TV. So I know what Kim is saying.
I love that. Holly, does your dog watch TV much?
Not even in the slightest. No.
Isn't that funny? And when I do a Zoom call with my daughter every weekend, I say, hold up the iPad or whatever you're on with the dogs, and they cannot understand, they cannot focus, and it's the baud rate or something. It's the rate of the rays going on the screen.
The refresh rate.
The refresh rate, thank you. That just doesn't work. We have
Scan
just a
rate.
couple of minutes left, and I'd like each of you to just give me a quick 1 minute, really 1 minute story about your favorite story about your current dog. Kim, go. 1 minute.
Okay, Dexter. My other dog, previous Digger, he was very, very in tune with me because I was living with PTSD. And so I'd have up and down days, anxiety, panic attacks. And he was very, very in tune with me and would be able to focus me and bring me back down to where I needed to be. Dexter, completely different dog, completely different personality. And I've noticed over the years that he has now started to do that. And he's going to be 9 come January. But he does the same thing. He will come and he's a leaner. I call him my leaner. He'll come and
Oh,
lean against me and then just lift his head up. He has one brown eye and one blue eye. And he'll lift his head up and he'll look at me and that one blue eye, he has his head tilted in that one blue eye. And it's kind of like saying, Mom, are we going to settle down? You know, and I
I
just
love
love
it.
that about him because I'm like, buddy, you are the best boy ever. Because of course they're all the best dogs ever.
Of course they are. Michael, favorite story with Alamo? You have one?
When I first got Alamo, when I took him back to the room after meeting him, I sat on the floor, and the next thing I knew, he was in my lap. And I realized that he thought he was a lap dog. Well, several months later, we were on an airplane going from Ontario, California airport to Dallas. And what I always like to do is to, when I can, pre-board and let the dog go up and say hello to the pilots. So Alamo and I went up to the cockpit. The pilots were doing their flight check-ins and
Hmm.
briefings and all that, and weren't paying any attention to Alamo, even though he was up there looking for attention. And Alamo decided to take matters into his own paws, and he literally just jumped up in the pilot's lap. And the pilot, after realizing what was going on, said, "I got to get a selfie." We actually have a picture of Alamo and Captain Bill's
Oh,
lap.
that's
It's really cute.
That's
sweet.
awesome.
Thank you. Holly, quick story. Go.
When we first got Cash, we hadn't even signed the adoption papers, and we left him home after a few days of being with him. So we both went to work. My husband comes home early, takes the dog out of the room, and says, I'm going to go get some sandwiches at Subway. So he goes, he comes back, the dog is gone. Goes outside, the neighbor across the creek says, oh, yeah, I saw him fly out of the second story window. He Supermaned outside of the window. I still have the photo. It's a perfect circle in the middle. And he was running down, across the creek, kept running in the backyards. We followed him. He was chasing squirrels and dogs. We did get him back, unhurt, unharmed, and we couldn't believe that he survived.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Wow. And I have a quickie story. When Amos and Jake, they're home groomed by my daughter and son-in-law. When each of the puppies is done with their grooming, they set out a set of bandanas in different colors that are folded and ironed and put on the floor in a semicircle. And they say, okay, pick the one you want for this week. And Amos will look around and whatever one they go to first. So one week Amos might pick the lavender one. The next week Jake might pick the green one. So the boys get to pick the color of the bandana that goes. And I've seen videos of it and it's absolutely charming. I want to thank the three of you so much for sharing your knowledge, your passion, your stories. Michael, for trusting me to host you. And I welcome you back. This has just been lovely and charming and very informative. And I'm going to put on some outro music here. And thank you to Jordan, our engineer on the Voice America Media Business Channel. And we're on Everybody Wave. We're on my Facebook pages and LinkedIn. And I accidentally put you on both of my YouTube. So we'll have an extra double there. I'm going to play the music from my new show. And I'd like you all to think about dancing with me. And let's go out. Say what? And I'm holding up a mug, Michael, that I had to write on that says, say what, good news. Okay. There you go. So dance with me, everybody.
Love to have you on the podcast.
I would love to be your guest. Listen up, the music, and I created this music in Suno, and it is an AI program. Morning coffee in my cup. Scrolling. I've had enough. Same old drama. Same old feed. Flip that dial. That's what I need. Turn it up. Let those bad vibes fade. Headlines. Hit play. Hit play. Here we go. Good news. We talk it out. We lift the mood. That's what we're doing here. Good people doing what they do. Feel the smile coming through. Everybody wave goodbye. Good news. This groove is